you have to realize what amount of pain you're going to really endure before like you let it stop you. So if you don't let that pain stop you, you just keep going and you can't be you're unstoppable essentially.
Welcome back to Through Their Stride. I'm your host, Sam Sutton, and today I'm joined by Sarah Amyx, who in 2021, in January of 2021, she received a diagnosis that didn't come with any answers. An autoimmune disorder with no clear cause, no roadmap, and just uncertainty. By December of that same year, she made a decision to lace up her running shoes and get started on a sport that she knew very little about. What started as a step forward in the middle of something hard has turned into a full stride. Sarah has become a Houston Marathon ambassador, a 5-time finisher of the Galveston Half Marathon, and a consistent voice on social media reminding others living with an autoimmune disorder or living with mental health challenges or whatever is going on in your life, life doesn't have to stop. It might look a little different. It might require some practice and patience. It might require some grit, but you can still do hard things. And most recently, after navigating a flare-up that pulled her away from running for a season, she has come back and completed her 5th Galveston Half, not just as a runner, but as proof. Today, we're talking about resilience, flare-ups, comeback seasons, and what it means to keep moving forward even when your body doesn't want to cooperate. This is Sarah Amyx Stride. Welcome back to Through Their Stride, and today I'm joined by Sarah Amyx. So Sarah, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited. I'm a chatterbox, so this is perfect for me.
Love that. I love chatterboxes. It makes this a lot more fun. So,
Perfect.
I heard you just kind of came back to running and finished the Galveston Half. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I had taken a year off. I have an autoimmune situation going on, and my doctor didn't want me in the sun, didn't want my temperature changing too much, and I finally have them under control and decided I'm going to start working with a coach again. And we decided to use Galveston Half to kind of see where my fitness is still standing at. So I went in with a goal of 215 and came out with a 211, which I was super impressed with. Yeah, it was cold, so it helped. I had a rough start. I had to go to the bathroom, things like that didn't go right at the first mile, but then we overcame and got through it. So it was a good time, and it was actually my 5th anniversary of running. So I've done the Galveston Half 5 times now.
Awesome. What's the course like? Galveston is beautiful. So
Yeah, it's not bad. The first year I remember they started at a different spot, and I just remember it being awful. Like the boring part of the race was at the end. And so they went from East Beach and now it starts at Stewart Beach. So then you get that first couple miles is the boring part. And then you get into the good part where you go into East Beach and then you flip around and come back. And you go all the way to the pier and then you finish back at Stewart. And then there is a marathon too, and it's 2 laps.
oh, cool.
Yeah. Never done that.
I don't know about 2 watts for a marathon, but
Yeah. Oh, I'm a little crazy. It's either a lot of laps or no laps. So my first marathon was actually 9 laps. So we can get into that later.
we'll definitely get into that later. And I also want to get into the fact that you're a Houston Marathon ambassador.
Yes.
And that I've seen your Instagram, like you've run a lot, it seems, but I kind of want to start a little bit at the beginning. So you started in December of 2021 after what I read was a pretty difficult year. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So in 2021, early 2021, I developed something called chronic idiopathic urticaria. And it's basically, chronic meaning more than like 7 weeks or something like that. And then idiopathic, no reason. And then urticaria is hives. It's the height of COVID. I thought I had COVID, but the doctors kept telling me, don't come back. You don't have it. Stop wasting our tests. So I probably just had like a cold. and it triggered these hives. It's just like we kind of think it's some type of autoimmune response to something changing in my body. So that happened early 2021. And then late 2021, my office at the time had sponsored the Ronald McDonald Run for a House. So that was, I had done 5Ks here and there, but never serious. And I ran it and I did not so bad for not running. And I was like, well, let's see what I can do with this. And I went straight into a half marathon, which was the Galveston Half, and just, I think it was February 2022. And kind of, I got injured. I had like IT band issues. I was also being treated for these hives. There's an injectable that had like a, I don't know if it's like an immunology or anything like that, but you get this shot once a month. So I was still getting these shots and still treating these hives, and decided I was going to train for a half. And I did 2 months out, and I was too late for Houston that year for a Ramco half. So I did the Galveston half a month later. I did okay. I had IT band issues, so I took some time off and then got right back into it in the fall of 2022. I went into remission fall of 2022 from the hives the first time around. And after I did the Sureland half in October of 2022, and after that, I was like so determined to just beat 2 hours. Like, I was like, I'm gonna do this. I had a coworker at the time who, she was a triathlete, and she told me something that stuck with me ever since. It was like, you have to realize what amount of pain you're going to really endure before like you let it stop you. So if you don't let that pain stop you, you just keep going, and you can't be you're unstoppable essentially. So after she told me that, I just was like, okay, we're going to do this. And so I came back around to Galveston half in 2020, I think it's 2023, and beat 2 hours. I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I had about maybe 4 or 5 halves in between the first time, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna beat it. And I think I hit like 159 on the dot.
Love that.
So I still beat it.
Yeah. I
So,
my first time breaking 2 hours was 1:59:40. So I'm right
yeah.
there.
It was something crazy. I never remember the seconds, but I remember it being 159, and I like even fell on the course. Like there, in Galveston they had this like RV park, and there were an RV coming out, and I still remember what happened. I was like so angry this RV was trying to back out of its spot, and I was so mad, and I just fell, and all these women are like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I was like, I gotta get up. The 2 hour pacer's coming. I gotta keep going. And they were like, okay. And I called my husband and I was like, I fell. He's like, you need me to come get you? I said, no, they're coming for me. I was like, I need to keep moving. He's like, okay. So that was a fond memory from that race, but it was just kind of funny because it was like I fell and I still managed to hit 159 somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway, yeah.
That's a perseverance moment for sure. I mean, like falling in a race is never fun.
I had like scratches on my back. I had bruises. I was a mess, but I was like not too bloody, which was good. But I was just like, I gotta keep going. I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my friend John was one of the 2 hour pacers, and I could see him in the back, and I was like, I gotta beat him. So,
Well,
yeah,
cool. And
yeah.
then after that, it seems pretty shortly after you ran your first full marathon. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I want to say it was the dates kind of blur together after a while, but
Yeah.
in May, so after I hit that 2 hour mark, I was like, I want to do a full, and I did something called the Texas Triple. It's a really neat race. The race director has run literally thousands of marathons. It's insane. So it's 3 days. It's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think it's Memorial Day weekend, the one in May. And so I decided I was going to do the Sunday marathon. So they have 3 marathons or 3 halves. It benefits MS. It's at a small park in Dallas around a little lake, kind of by Love Field. And so I did that when it was 9 laps around a park, very similar to Memorial Park, like the loops. And It was nice because my husband was in one spot the entire time. So I knew every about 30 minutes or so I would see him. And so it was a lot of fun. I keep saying I'm going to go back and try all three marathons. I just haven't done it
Yeah.
yet. The the marathon is still a little scary for me,
Yeah.
but we're getting there.
I mean, the marathon is still scary for me too. So I totally get it. Like every time I go into a block, it's kind of like,
Ugh,
like it's like the
yeah.
first day is like always so fun because it's like easy, low mileage, but you
Yeah.
also think about like, oh, but it's gonna come. What's 20 milers are coming?
Yeah. Yeah. It's coming for you. It's still daunting and it's still like, what do I really have this much free time to be running for 5 hours on my day off? Like, what am I thinking? But, it always comes back and it's always like, okay, let's do the next one.
That's
So,
awesome. And then,
yeah.
so think of just going back to your time growing up, and obviously you're a big runner now, you've run
Yeah.
multiple marathons. Did you play sports as a kid? What was your relationship with
Yes.
athletics?
I was the sports kid in my family. I have two sisters and a brother, and my brother is in the military. My younger sister is a dancer. My older sister did play lacrosse, but you asked my parents growing up, I was in soccer. I did swimming for 18 years, so that's, I'm 4'11", but I still loved the water so much. So soccer was my other one. I did try gymnastics, wasn't like as fun for me. I'm more of an endurance sports kind of person, and
Mhm.
I tried baseball. I literally tried. The only one I didn't try was basketball for obvious reasons. But I really just loved trying all the different sports. But my main one was swimming. I swam from the age of 4 to 18. And then when I went to school, I went to Stephen F. Austin. We had a swim club that I dabbled in a little bit, but I was never a runner. I hated it. My soccer coaches would make us run laps if we let the ball drop before it, we had to make contact with the ball at all times or we would be running laps and hated it so much. So it's just like so funny if I talk to a lot of runners and they're like, we hated running growing up. We were never in cross country or anything like that. And so it's just funny how that works out.
Yeah.
But my mom did run. She ran before I was born, and something that was really cool is last year for the Houston 5K right before the marathon, I convinced her to do the 5K with me, and it was her first 5K in over 35 years, and she is at Run Club more times than I am now. She's been running, she's stacked up her race schedule, and it's really cool to see her come back. She's injured right now, but we have big plans for her in 2026. So
Awesome. So she
yeah.
caught the bug all over again.
Yes, yes. I'm like, I'll bribe her with different things. Like I'll buy you the training shirt if you sign up or whatever it is that they have. So she's back at it and loves it again. So that makes me really happy too.
That's awesome. And then with running, so you took it on in 2021,
Mhm.
and it seems like you pretty well fell in love with the sport.
Yeah.
Is here, by the way. Sorry, she's
Hi.
up on the seat here, but anyway, so you took running head on in 2021, it seems, and you kind of fell in love, and I mean, you're like a Houston Marathon ambassador. It
Yeah.
seems what I've seen, you've been an ambassador for some other things as well.
Yeah.
What what kind of got you hooked into the sport and into that community like that?
I don't know because it just runner's high, I think,
Yeah.
honestly. And like the fact that I've seen so much improvement and I've been able to put so much time and energy into it, um, you know, just seeing how like I've improved essentially. It's kind of sparks that in me, I guess.
Yeah.
'Cause yeah, like swimming, I was never good at it, like, but I loved it. I wasn't fast, and then, I see and I think I was thinking about this a little bit today, I put in a lot of effort in this and to see the payout is really nice, and it's bigger than, anything I've done before. So
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest is, the effort I've put into it when I don't want to do it too. Like, don't get it wrong. Like, there's some days where I just don't want to do it. And so, just seeing that payout is really special. So,
Yeah. I think the coolest thing about running, there's a lot of like endurance sports. I would say even swimming and even bicycle, like cycling, it's you can plateau pretty easily. And
yeah,
like you can hit a plateau pretty quick in your training. But I think when you start running, think this is the case for a lot of people, you can break some personal bests and get better really rapidly for a couple of years. Um,
yeah,
and sometimes even longer than that. And I think it's something that like us runners, it's like, man, like it's
keep
great. You know what I
chasing.
mean? Like it's an endorphin spike, but it also kind of shows that like if you put the work into something,
Yeah.
you will see the fruits of that labor. And it seems like you got that. It seems like you're wanting to share that with people.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, going back to community, my first year of running, I did it completely alone.
Mhm.
My father-in-law was a runner, ran with Houston Fit and things like that. And he always asked, "Oh, what run club are you in?" And I'm like, "Hey, what's a run club?" Like, I didn't know, like, I didn't realize. And then I saw the Houston ambassadors for the marathon, and I just was like, I want to be a part of that. You know, growing up, we moved around a little bit. And so I never had that community as a kid.
Yeah.
And so, getting that as an adult is really fulfilling. And they do say, like, making friends as an adult is really hard. But I'm like, it's not hard if you're a runner and you find your community because it's really special. And I did it really fine. So I lived in Houston the first couple years, and then we moved to like Fort Bend area. And so I run with Rise Runners now, and the community is great. And I'm glad I got to find this group of people because now they're my friends outside of running. Like, of course, we only talk about running, but if I go hang out with them at the bar and stuff like that. So that's really special. And um, I just love that. It's like a big hug, like like community. So, um, yeah,
It's
it's funny because I never had that the first year I ran.
yeah. It's funny because I think for me anyway, like I've been running since I was 6 years old, but I started
Yeah,
to take it seriously in like 2022, 2023,
yeah,
Sarah. And you get this kind of like imposter syndrome where you see people like they're all running really fast times.
yeah,
Everyone's running faster than you are, and you're like, oh, they probably don't want to talk to me. They don't. They probably make
exactly.
yeah. But then you start asking people and actually talking to people, and then like even that 2:30 marathoner is like, oh hey, welcome. You know what I mean? And they want to
Yeah,
get with
it's
food.
it's special. I don't know how to explain it to people, and I try and convert all my coworkers these days, and they're like, you can't catch me running, and I'm like, yeah, but if you go to a run club, it'll change how you feel about it. You could walk, and
They don't
they
care.
don't care. It's
Yeah, they just want
insane.
you there.
Yeah, and it's just I don't feel like you could find that community anywhere else,
Oh.
honestly. So it's really special.
Yeah. And then talking a little bit more about you and about your running and your the autoimmune disorder that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Managing that plus running sounds like it's a pretty challenging ordeal, especially
Yeah.
yeah, you said that there's like problems with like heat and everything. So
Yeah.
give me a little bit of how you manage that.
So chronic idiopathic urticaria is something funny. They see a lot of it now that COVID has become a thing. And there's been a lot of research in the last couple of years because of COVID, because a lot of times it's caused by a virus. It's triggered by a virus, and that's kind of what happened with me. And so they're seeing a lot of this happen because of COVID, and other things too. So in May of 2025, I don't know what triggered it this time. Just some weird changes in my body, honestly. Um, and so I was getting it really bad. And, we went to Galveston. Galveston's like our second home. We love going there. And I just was covered. It got way worse overnight. And I was like, okay, this is weird. I was in the sun, the sand, the sea, whatever. But it was probably the sun that triggered it this time. So my my doctor was like, look, I don't want you changing your temperature, no heat, no cold, which is hard because I'm always cold. So I always put heat on. So it's like hard. And then you can't really go outside. I'm like, I love being in the sun during the summer. Summer season is my favorite. And it sounds so weird, but I love to run in the heat. Like, I don't know. I'm like an outlier to everyone else. Like, I hate the cold.
Yeah.
So, I kind of slowed down because of that. I wanted to try and manage it before I started introducing running back into the scene. And yeah, so in July, we tried, managing it with antihistamines and it didn't work. So we went back to my injectable, which is it's called Xolair, and you do it once a month in both arms. And it's just like the worst experience ever because it's like thick needle, thick serum. It's like all of the bad things. And so, you know, you can do it at home, but since my severity of my hives and everything, they won't allow me to do it at home, which is great because I don't want, it could cause some issues with me and my husband if he had to give me these shots because it's like the shot is so bad. So I've been on that since July. And then I just kind of took it easy. The first time I, had this experience, it was wild because the shot would make me really sleepy and like would put me out for a day. But this time it hasn't done that. But the severity of the hives is causing me to have like fatigue and not like really don't want to move much because it's just so uncomfortable. Pants hurt, wear a lot of shorts, a lot of t-shirts, things like that. And then on top of that, you have to go to work and you have to dress professionally. So that was a challenge as well. And then in late September, I experienced angioedema, which is swelling of the throat, the lips, the eyes, like everything in the face. So I was experiencing that again in September and then into October. And we've done a little bit of steroids here and there, and decided it was time to go long term on the steroids, which I really didn't want to do because of all the different side effects long term. So in October we started it because my throat was swelling. It was closing up a lot.
Yeah.
And in this time, I decided I was going to run the half in January with my best friend. She is dealing with health complications too. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to help you cross that finish line because, there was a DNF the year before. And I wanted to be there supporting her. And I knew that my body could do it. So then October, November, I started training for that. Nothing crazy, really slow, very easy, not hard on my body. And while I started the steroids. And so the steroids have suppressed the hives since October. I haven't had any issues since then. So that was good. We finished the half, which was exciting. It was a lot of fun to be able to do it with my two other friends and just kind of chat and yap. And, my goal was to eat every snack I could find on the course. So I did that. That was a lot of fun. And, we finished together and that was really a special moment. And then after that, I decided to try a new treatment, which is called Repsida, which is it came out over the summer, which is ironic because that's when my hives came back.
Yeah.
So we're going to start that in a couple weeks, and I'm done with the shots after that and done with the steroids after that. So I'm hopeful. And, there's a community online of people that have this condition too, and they're all singing praises of this new medication. And so I'm hopeful that, I can take it long term too. Like I can be on it forever if I wanted to. And hopefully we can, I feel that maybe I'm in remission again, but I don't want to get too crazy and hopeful because, it could come back after I start this next medication. But I decided I was going to go back to running because of my mental health, and I have a very stacked race season coming up now because of it. And my doctor is excited for me. And, I'm going to do Berlin in September and I'm trying to get into New York, but who knows with that one. So that was kind of my journey in the last almost 12 months now. And, I'm feeling better. I have more energy again. And I'm trying to fall in love with the sport again. Sometimes those breaks are needed. My body needed it apparently, and I'm ready to get back to it. And really, hit it hard, and I'm working with my coach again, and so I'm feeling overall positive and hopeful that, we can squash this whatever is causing it, because they don't know what causes it for most people, which is frustrating because you're like, okay,
Yeah.
there's like the word, I'm kind of losing the word, but it's like logically, like there's got to be a reason, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of times we don't find the reason. So,
Yeah. When you hear something like idiopathic, you're like, well, okay, then what can I do? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
so the last step was to find out if I had any genetic mutations, and came back fine. So so now we're certain that we are uncertain about what's causing it. So it's a bummer, but it's also like I'm thankful that, nothing serious is going on, and we can control it with what we've got in front of us. And, science is advancing every day on this. And it's just so funny. It's like, looking back in my childhood, I always had allergies and stuff, and now I'm like allergic to my own body. So it's kind of like, oh, of course this would happen to me.
Yeah. But it does sound like good things are happening. So it sounds
Yeah,
like you're starting to run again and
yeah.
maybe in remission. So
Fingers crossed. And I think that, yeah, I think I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm hoping and hopeful that, this round is finished, and it's something that I'll have to deal with the rest of my life, but at least I know that there are advancements in medication for it now, so that's good.
and then you mentioned something a second ago that you also texted me about running and mental health. And you said
Yeah,
that you're a big advocate for running and athleticism and how it does help with your mental health
yeah,
and anxiety. So can you talk a
yeah.
little bit about that?
I have anxiety, and I thought I was really good at hiding it, but apparently I'm not. You'll
Welcome to the
see me,
club.
yeah, you'll see me before a race, and it's like, I'm like, okay, I'm hiding it really well. And then, like, I had a friend be like, Sarah, you're not really, I know you're anxious. Like,
Yeah.
you're not really good at hiding it. So, I'm a part of Still I Run. I'm an ambassador for 2026. And I've always been an advocate for mental health. And, I see a mental health professional. I graduated from weekly to biweekly now. And I do think having running along with the actual healthcare is such a good thing. Like
Yeah.
this last year, not running, I was going crazy. I didn't have community. I didn't have that outlet to like release those feelings. And I feel like running really releases, those bad feelings, or, and I used to craft a lot, and I would use my crafting to release, like, and turn it into something good. So, like, turning that energy into something that is productive versus, this last year sitting on and resting. I needed it, but sitting and resting, it would have been nice to have that outlet, especially dealing with a sickness like I had.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a big part of, you know, going to the doctor and getting it, talking to somebody, and then also putting that movement and helping you that way too. I think it's so important.
Yeah. And I think like for me too, running is just it's such a big help. Like if I have
Yeah.
come home from a day, like a hard day at work or just a, overwhelming day, just life wise, whether it's dealing with something in family or like
Yeah.
my mom just passed away. So that was a big,
Yeah.
overwhelming thing. Running really gets me through and like, helps me process just that movement and that.
Yeah. And
But,
it's
oh, go ahead.
sorry, it's like it helps you process things, and it helps you come back to like reality, but also like it just like makes you feel better, and then like being productive also, it
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
So
It grounds you a little bit.
yeah.
And but I appreciate what you said too about like running and therapy, like running
Yeah.
and counseling. Like, you can't just go out and run and hope it solves all your problems because it won't.
It's
you know?
not going to, but
Yeah.
after a good run, after speaking to my therapist, really puts things into perspective, and it really makes me feel better. And having that unbiased person there to help you through whatever's going on that week, it's it helps a lot. It really does. And being a part of Still I Run is a big deal. They've grown their ambassadorship so much, and you know, having so many of us to be able to speak about it and not make mental health like a stigma or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And I've seen that it's gotten better over the years, and it's not fun, but we have that support there too in that community as well. So I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, I love that. I love that there's groups like Still I Run who are
Mhm.
kind of speaking into that space. I think especially for athletes, because as athletes we can
Yeah.
sometimes tend to push off our like hard stuff that's going on in our minds, in our daily
Yeah.
lives, just focus on the work that we're doing, and you know, continuing to be able to speak into this and normalize the fact that, hey, you might have anxiety, you might have depression, you may have, something that is you need some clinical help.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay
Yeah.
to get help. And the more that we talk about it on things like this, I think it's very important.
And they do say something about endurance athletes, like we need that high and that to help us through whatever we're going through. And that's why we're so drawn to, endurance sports like triathlons, biking and running and things like that. So,
Mhm.
there's yeah. So I think we're a crazy bunch, but we get through it, so
Because we're crazy, I think.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably why we do what we do. So
Awesome. So, and then you said you've got a pretty great running schedule
yeah.
set up for
I
2026.
when I decided I was coming back to running, I was like, I'm going to sign up for this race and this race. I missed out on a year.
Obviously.
Yeah, I had to sign up for all these things. I think the first one was definitely Galveston. Was important to me to do that one since it was my anniversary. And then I convinced my friend to do the Seaweeds half in August. It's the Lululemon half. And somehow I got a link to pre-register before the draw came open, and so me and her were able to use my link to get in. So we're
Okay.
going to Vancouver in August, which is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Yeah. Have you
Um,
ever been to Canada?
nope, nope. I hear it's cold, but hopefully not in August.
I mean, August it should be beautiful. I've never
Perfect. Yeah.
been up to Canada. Furthest north I've been up is Maine, but
Yeah.
I have a friend who works in Canada, and he's like, it's beautiful up there.
I'm really excited. I'm glad it's not in the winter, which is going to be good because, me and Cole don't get along, but that's my first big one. 5Ks here and there. I suffer from migraines, so I do miles for migraines every year. And I'm trying to think of what else. I've got Bayou City Classic. I'm doing the 10K this year. I usually do the 5K because I don't know what it is about the 10K. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So my goal this year is to enjoy the 10K. So we're gonna see if it works. I don't know.
Mhm.
And then I've got Bridge Fest in Kingwood, which is where I grew up. Um, so I'm gonna do that for the first time, which is a 5K. And I'm trying to think. I think that my spring is pretty easy. It's once we get into the fall, it's gonna get pretty tricky. I'm trying to get into New York, but how that goes. We'll see. Maybe I can get into Still I Run or just another charity. I've got Berlin in September.
Okay.
And
And that's
then
your
I
second star.
say that again.
And that's your second star, right?
Yeah, I did Chicago in 2024, and that was a lot of fun. I loved that experience, and I didn't think I was gonna be, super excited about Chicago because it's like it's Chicago, but I had never been there, and I just fell in love with the city. It was a wonderful experience. I think I ended up with a sinus infection though during the
Oh,
race, and so I didn't do the best, but I still had the most fun. I live on my antihistamines and I forgot to take them.
Yeah.
So, which is weird because I don't ever forget them. Yeah, Chicago was a lot of fun. I recommend that one for sure. So this will be my second star, Berlin. And then hopefully I can get into New York, but we'll see. That one's TBD. And then I have a if that doesn't work out, I'm my family's from New Orleans and I've always wanted to do a marathon in New Orleans. So there's the New Orleans Marathon. So if I don't get into New York, I think I'm gonna try and do, you know, New Orleans again. And then of course Houston. Um, and then I would love to do Tokyo next after that. It's one of those things we'll see.
Yeah.
London would be a dream too, but those two are really close and I still have a full-time job, so I have to take that into consideration. Um, and then every women's marathon is going to New Orleans in February.
Oh, cool.
So I would love to have a spot in that one, but it's the same month as Tokyo, I think. I think Tokyo's in February, right? So that could also be tricky. I have some big dreams, but so far I'd like to have 4 marathons done by the end of spring next year,
Okay.
to double up my marathon count. But I have big dreams and aspirations. It's just whether or not I get into those races and then, of course, do some halves along the way. My best friend lives on the route in San Diego, so I would love to do the Rock and Roll San Diego half.
Yeah.
Again, not sure if I'm going to do it, but I would love to do that one this year. We'll see how, my schedule lines up. But it also lands around her birthday. So every year she's like, you should do the half. It's my birthday weekend. And I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah.
So that's one that I would really love to do. So
Awesome.
I've got a lot of things I want to do because after sitting out a year, it's you get that FOMO. I usually have strong FOMO, but coming back and like we had to sign up for everything. So,
Yeah.
but
That's
I
awesome.
also have to remember to like space things out so that I don't get too overwhelmed
Mhm.
because I think 2024 I did Houston. And then I had FOMO and signed up for an ultra marathon.
Yeah. Oof. Oh
I
no.
don't recommend it. I
Yeah.
had some friends well, they say it wasn't easy to talk me into that one, but I tell
Mhm.
them that they talked me into it. They're like, it was really easy. We told you we signed up, and then 5 minutes later, you had signed ups.
Which one is it?
Brazos Bend, since it's close to home, it was the 50K. It was a lot of fun, but I need to forget that experience before I sign up again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm really a trail runner.
Yeah.
It's a very different world out there. So,
I've only ever done one trail race, and it was a 10K at Fort Davis, so kind of far West Texas, Big Bend.
yeah,
Well, not quite Big Bend, but
yeah. Okay.
and it was the hardest 10K I have ever done in my life. I mean, just you were climbing mountains, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you had to like get on your hands and knees sometimes to get up. And it was me and my brother running the 10K. My mom was running the half. And
We did.
he and I got done. I think I got done in an hour and 19 minutes, and then he got done in like an hour and 30. And we were sitting around, and we knew my mom's like half marathon time typically was around like 140 to 2 hours. You know, she's always been a fast runner, and so I was, we were like, all right, it isn't going to be that much longer. And so we were sitting in the car eating some post run snacks, and
Yeah.
then walked 2 hours. I was like, well, we know the course, we ran it, so it's going to be a little longer. Still waiting, it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I'm like, is mom okay? So we were like, kind of like, it's like we can't call her because like she's running.
Yeah.
But we just kept like looking out on the course to see if there's like still runners, and I was like, well, there's still runners, so I think we should just keep waiting. And then finally, she like came in, and she was beat up, and that was her last race that she did. She was like, I'm done.
Never doing that again. No. Well, Brazos is not super technical, so it wasn't terrible, but I remember hitting that 26-mile mark and being like, this is a full hour over
Yeah.
my marathon time. Like, this is rough. And then I passed a friend and she was like so delirious. She's like, I still have 10 miles left. And I'm like, you're like 5 miles ahead of me. I don't think you have. It
Yeah.
was just like an experience, like delirious afterwards. Like, I
Mhm.
remember wanting to just lay on the ground, and my husband was like, you better not do that because you're not getting up if you lay on that ground.
Yeah.
Just like a whole experience that I don't know I want to do again.
Yeah.
Also, like anything over a marathon too, just like starts to kind of feel like I'm like, I don't know if I ever want to take that on. I have a lot of trail running friends. They
Yeah.
do, the 100 milers and all that. That I'll hear them and I'm like, maybe I will. But then I think back at afterwards and I'm like, nah, I'm never gonna do that.
I have the 50K sticker on my car because I was like, this is the most I've done. I'm going to put it in my car because I earned it. But I also feel like an imposter or like a poser because it's like, I will never do another 50K, at least
Yeah.
not on trail. I think New Orleans has one in the street and that one's calling my name, but I haven't decided yet. But I just, I wanted to do it to prove to myself that I could
Yeah.
give me that little bit of confidence I needed. But I just, I do feel like a little bit of a poser because I'm like, I don't know if this is going to happen again. And I've got that 50K on my car. And like, I don't know. It's just, it's definitely like once you hit the 26 miles, you're like, I could be done right now.
Done. Good. I
Yeah.
think I'm already.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
crazy because you don't have to train any more for the 50K than you do the the marathon. You know, I have a friend in my run club. She's done so many ultras, and she's like, you really just don't have to do more than the marathon.
Mhm.
And it was funny because leading up to that race, we had done like a team dinner, like a anniversary dinner for the run club, and we were sitting there and my husband's like, "Yeah, you guys have the ultra coming up." And me and my friend looked at each other and we're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "When is that?" And we are like, "Next weekend."
Oh, yeah.
He goes, "You haven't been running." And then he looked at my friend and was like, "Have you been running?" And she was like, "Mm-mm." And he goes, "What are y'all doing?" We're just going on good vibes, I
Just
guess.
saying it.
Yeah, if we have to walk the last 10 miles, we have to walk the last 10 miles, I guess, because we both had come off of Houston in 2024. So that was January was Houston, April was the ultra, and we were just like, we're just gonna go off with good vibes, I hope. And
Yeah.
we finished.
You finished. That's awesome.
So bad. We won't do that again.
Glorious. And April's not forgiving in the heat sometimes too.
It wasn't awful. I do remember being a little toasty towards the end, but it wasn't, and like I said, I like to run in the
Yeah, it's
heat.
like you
It's
like
not
the
it's okay. It was okay for me.
yeah.
I carried water and we did all right.
Anyone who
So
likes the heat, especially the Texas heat, in my opinion, is
brutal.
plaguing.
Yeah. I remember doing a 5K on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Again, my friends convinced me that they were doing it, and so I said, "Sure, I'll do it too." I remember coming off and being like, never again. I'm never doing that again. There were probably, I think I passed about 5 or 6 pregnant women and they were just cruising. They were speeding through the race. And I am like, not obviously not pregnant and like just dying. And I'm like, I don't know how these women do it. And after I finished, I told my husband, I said, never again. I am never doing a 4th of July race ever again.
I back in 2024, my brother and I did a July 4 to 5K. It was the Cox Running Club in Dallas, with DFW, and we did theirs. And my white whale is a sub 25K, so I'm like been knocking on the door for a while, and
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna get that sub 25K today, and we get out there and it's already like 78 degrees early in the morning, and I'm like, it's okay. I think, it's a flat course. It's an out and back. Like,
Yeah.
we'll be all right. So I went out at, sub 20 pace, and I could hold that for a mile. And then my second mile, it was like a 7:34. And then my third mile was like an 8:45. And I'm like sweating from head to toe. And finished it, and I'm like, you know what? Actually, I'm actually okay with that time in this
Yeah.
heat. And I was waiting for my brother. He still hadn't come in, and I went back to find him just to see, and he was like fairly shuffling, like head to toe, drenched in sweat, and he was like, "I hate you for making me do this."
Yeah.
I was like, "You got it." And he was like, "I don't know that I."
I don't mind doing some training runs in the heat, but
Yeah,
because your body can push you through
yeah,
this time and you're like, I can do this. And then it's like the heat just slaps you in the face,
yeah.
especially when it's humid. It's like, I call it swimming through mashed potatoes. Like,
That's so true.
it's like, it's very mashed potatoey out here. Like, I really want to push through, but I cannot because it is just heavy.
I almost
Like,
say I say it's like running with a wet blanket on you.
oh, that's a good one too. Yeah, I do not like wet blankets. Like, it's rough. Yeah, it's like, ugh. I don't know. And people just do it every year, the 4th of July, and it's the one in Houston through the Galleria. And it's just, ugh, gross.
Houston humidity too is no joke.
No. And I did the Marine Corps half one year. And I remember it being seasonably warm for, I think it was in Virginia. And I was like, man, it's a little chilly out here. And everyone's like, it's hot. I'm like, I don't think you realize what hot is. And I PR'd, and that's my fastest half was 157. And it's probably one of my favorite races I've done. It was so much fun, but all those people were just drenched in sweat at the end of it. And I was like, this is great.
Living on cloud nine.
Yeah, and same thing. We went to Scotland and I did a park run because I did a run in every country when we went, Ireland, Scotland, and then I did a running tour in London, which was great. Anytime you travel to a new city, they have these running tours. I loved it. It was so much fun. But I was at Scotland at the park run, and all the Scottish people were just, man, it's hot out here. It was 65 degrees in September. And I was like, what do you mean it's hot? And she was like, they quickly realized that I was not from there with my, my American accent. And they're like, where are you from? And I said, Texas. And they were like, well, that's why. Like, it has no humidity. It was 65. It felt great outside. And it's just funny that, their, idea of hot is not the same as our idea of hot.
This is not running related, but my
Yeah.
wife went to Michigan last summer for a school like business trip,
Yeah.
and she went up there, and one day it was 81 degrees as the high, and they were apologizing to her for how hot it got in that summer, and I know it's a scorcher, and she was like,
This is fine. So yeah, my friend in California, she'll text me and she's like, it's 85 degrees outside. And I was like, I really don't want to hear your complaints. Well, you don't have AC. And I'm like, I don't care if you have AC or not. It is 85 and no humidity there. I was like, I don't really want to hear it. Really don't want to hear it.
drink some water, you're gonna be all right.
You'll be fine. Turn a fan on, I promise.
Well, I kind of wanted to also talk about your social media influence. So you've built quite the following, and you post a lot of inspiring things, and it seems like you're not shy about sharing your autoimmune things and how you manage it and deal with it. Why do you like to do that? Do you feel like you're helping people, and how has that been?
Yeah, so I'm an open book is probably like, some people are like, oh gosh, she's sharing more about this. And I'm like, well, it's important to me because I've made friends over the last 5 years since I've had this disease. They've reached out to me. They said, hey, I'm going through this too. I saw you post this because you used a hashtag. What was your experience and things like that. So the reason I share it is because, like, one, it's such a weird thing to have, like, who has hives for no reason, and then two, like, bringing awareness to that. So I've made like a small community of people that suffer these weird things with me, and I think it's important because in such a massive world, we can always feel so alone. But then when you speak out about something like this, you can make that world a little smaller and a little more supportive. So, we share our experiences and everything like that. And I just think it's important because, it's just such a weird thing. Like I keep saying that. It's just like who gets
Yeah.
hives for no reason. Like, so I just think it's important in that aspect to just share because there might be somebody out there that's trying to find answers and I'm not a medical professional, but maybe I can help them, get that confidence to go to a doctor. Sometimes people don't want to see a doctor or get help like that, or sometimes, not all doctors, but sometimes you feel like you're pushed aside or whatever it is. And, giving people that confidence to be able to do it. And then I also, one of the girls that I became friends with, she is now running too. Not because of me, but it's just fun to see other people with this experience running and doing things like that. And so she's running halves, and I like to follow along and see her do those things too. So I just think it's important,
Yeah.
to
Well,
advocate for it and, give people confidence too.
I mean, I think it goes back to what we talked about the mental health thing too.
Yeah.
This is a very rare situation where,
Yeah.
it hives for no reason. This is a disorder that not many people have to deal with.
No.
And it probably does feel like pretty isolating when your doctor
Exactly.
says, this is what you have. And you're like, great. What? I don't know what to
What do
do.
I do? Yeah.
And it can feel very alone. So I kind of give you kudos
Yeah.
for sharing this journey and for being that voice to people who
Yeah.
feel like, oh, I'm never gonna have any relief. No one can tell me what to do because no one experiences this. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, no, people do. And this is
Yeah.
what I feel. This is what I experience. This is how I manage it. And maybe it's not running, maybe it's something else, but you can
Exactly.
have a life as well while dealing with this. And
Exactly.
so I think that's really cool that you're able to make these friends and make these connections, and people see this and message you and say, this has been such an inspiration. Can you help me
Mhm.
with this? Or you've helped me with this. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It's just important. And, not everyone wants to share everything, which is, I understand, having that private part of your life, social media, not everything you see on there is, real, but I feel like, you know, been given this unique experience and I feel like I should share it.
Yeah.
So,
That's so
yeah.
cool. And then, like, I do like too, because I see some of your social media, your Instagram photos where you're like struggling through the marathon. You know what I mean? And you're like, real, like, you got the grit face on, and I
Oh
just get
yeah.
that.
I,
It's,
there's not a finish line I haven't crossed bawling my eyes out.
yeah,
I talked to my therapist about this. I'm like, why do I cry every time? And she's like, it's your release,
yeah,
You're proud of yourself and you finally got through it and you crossed that finish line, and I'm just like
yeah,
in tears. And it's just, it's a part of my it's just part of me. So
yeah. I love that. I don't ever. I mean, I haven't yet cried at the end of the finish line, but I do cry in the middle of every successful 20 miler.
yeah.
Like every time I have like a 20 miler that's like really going strong and I'm like hitting everything, I'm
Yeah.
like it just comes over me. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
And I'm holding back with tears.
There was one 18 miler because the way my coach does it, my longest is 18 usually. And I did it through my neighborhood, just ran up and down every single street. I think I missed one section in my neighborhood. And I called my husband. I was about a mile away because, I run this route all the time. And I called him and I'm like, this is not going well. I'm like, this is awful. This is terrible. I'm like, I have 1 mile left. He's like, well, let me come get you. And I'm like, no, I have 1 mile left. And I see him drive up next to me and I'm like in tears. And he's like, get in the car. And I'm like, I'm not going to get in the car. I'm going to finish. And he's like, okay. And then he drove off. He just checking on me. And then I got home and he was at the gym and I called him. He goes, did you finish? And I was like, I made it. No, I'm going to go sit in the bathtub and drink cold water because that was awful. So
Yeah.
I know that feeling. It's, the emotions take over and I was not going to give up.
That's awesome. And I think that's your story as well. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to give up. I mean, through, through setbacks, through,
Yeah.
coming in and out of remission, you're still running, you're still setting PRs. And
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah. It feels good to see how far I've come to, like, the confidence, being able to push through things. I think pushing through things in running really helps pushing through whatever I'm going through personally too. So I think that's one of the gifts that running has given me. And I have family members now taking up running, and I tell them running gives you life. Like, it really truly will give you life, whether it's through running, like running, or like in your personal life. Like, it really will take you higher than, anything else.
It does. I think I talk about this a lot in this podcast, but like running and life mix so well together. And I think what running does, it gives you the ability to directly see how pushing through hard things
Mhm.
can make you a better person. And, I think when you're in the real world, when you're working or you're dealing with something and you feel like you can't get through it, then sometimes it's easier just to not do it at all or avoid the
Exactly.
task. But as runners, I feel like we can see, okay, if we just push through it, if we just get into it and dig deep, and know that it's not going to be hard forever, we'll get through it and we'll be stronger on the other end because of it.
I
And
agree. Yeah.
yeah, running is so healing that way.
I agree. Yeah. It's such a good feeling.
Well, cool. I won't take a whole lot more of your time, but I do really appreciate you coming and sharing your story. I think
Yeah.
this is one of my favorite conversations I've had. So thank
Good.
you so
I
much.
appreciate it. Do you mind 1 second?
Yeah.
And of course, the people want to see Maggie.
Yes, of course.
So
She does get
Maggie
on Instagram.
does, and the little one's asleep. She's a little much, but all of my friends and all the ambassadors always ask about Maggie. So this is proof of life.
Maggie's Instagram handle.
It's Maggie the Doxy. Um, yeah, you can find her on Instagram. We're trying to get back into it, but being off a year, I've kind of stopped doing her stuff as much. But we're slowly getting back into the groove of her social media as well.
What is her kind of, I guess, her niche, I guess.
Weenie dogs.
Yeah.
It's a cult. Like, I've tried with the Cocker Spaniel, but it's not much of a cult as the weenie community. She's a fashionista. She has a harness for every occasion, and she loves to eat. So we do a lot of food on her on her socials, and so yeah. A lot of she's the reason I'm an ambassador for the Houston Marathon too. So so they all want to see Maggie.
Yeah, you and your dog are inspiring all the way. I love that.
Trying.
Awesome. Well, my before I let you go, I always like to ask this last question for people,
Sure.
and sometimes I miss it, and sometimes I get it. But if you could give somebody a reason to go for a run today, what would it be?
I think, like I said earlier, it gives you life. It really gives you life. So, you'll find something in you that you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Awesome. I love that. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to me and giving me this space to talk about, all the things that have gotten me through running.
And that was my conversation with Sarah Amyx. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you all for listening to her story. This was such a fun conversation. And yeah, really kind of I was feeling some pretty down moments after my mom passed. And she was a really good reminder of, like, when things are hard, keep moving and keep pushing through the pain, keep pushing through the hard moments. And really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed this conversation. If you really enjoyed this conversation, please like it, share it, comment, share it with a friend. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever it is. And I will see you guys on the next episode.